fans of YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, your Movie Apprentice, and I have just got back from seeing Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson. A lot of cooks in the kitchen, also written by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Dave Callahan. And this was a movie I was very, very, very nervous going into because not only was the first one such a huge surprise and was easily the best Spider-Man movie ever made, going to this one, I really had high expectations. Then I started seeing some early critic reviews or just quick tweets from people that had seen this in advance, and that just hyped me up even more. And when my expectations was this high, I was terrified it was going to underwhelm me no matter how good it was. And I'm happy to report I was wrong. This is easily landing in the council of goated sequels to already goat predecessors. It joins the likes of Terminator 2, Aliens, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Godfather Part 2, probably, though I have not seen The Godfather Part 2. I know, put me on the cross, whatever. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it is one of the movies where I say I love movies all the time, but sitting in that movie theater and watching this movie, it hit me that I love movies. This is an outstanding movie. It follows Miles Morales, who has now been Spider Man for just over a year, as he does the Spider Man thing of struggling to balance that work life between Spider Man and the Miles Morales life. But Gwen shows up one day to introduce him to this whole lobby of Spider people brought together by Miguel O'Hara with their goal to protect the Spider Verse from collapsing in on itself. And that's all I'm going to say in terms of the plot, because this is one of those movies where if you haven't seen it, go watch it now. Ignore this review, go watch it right now, then come back, find out what I thought afterwards, because Jesus, this is a movie that has so much that can be spoiled. Like, so much can be spoiled from this movie. This is just a fantastic movie. And start off with the animation for one, I thought was great in the first one, but it is next level in this. We have to really start considering that Sony Pictures Animation might just be able to compete with the quality of Disney with these two Spider Verse movies and the Mitchells versus the Machines in the last few years. Sony Pictures Animation are a fantastic animation studio, and I am down to watch any single bit of animation that comes out of that particular studio. Going into like the characterizations as well, like we get obviously a decent amount of Miles Morales in this. Like he is our main character, and we get to delve more into his struggles and having to balance the Spider-Man side of his life with his parents. You see in the trailer him battling the spots while he's supposed to be at a parent-teacher meeting. That's a great bit, and I absolutely love how that aspect is played out. We also get a lot more of Gwen Stacy in this. She is arguably the co-headliner of this, where she was like a supporting character in the first one. You had like the tears, you had Miles, then Peter and Gwen, then the other three. This one, she is very much level with Miles in terms of importance to the plot. And just have to say it, the voice performances in this are fantastic. From Shamik Moore, just really giving Miles this amazing personality, to Hailey Steinfeld, who has already shown she is one of the biggest up and comers in Hollywood. And even if she doesn't go all the way in her live action roles, she is great voicing Gwen Stacy. You get more of her backstory in this. Like all the stuff that you saw in brief flashbacks from various spy people in the previous movie, you get more context and more focus on it in this movie. And just the way it seamlessly translates from the previous to this one, it feels like they actually had this animated. They've literally just taken it from that first movie and expanded it. It almost feels like they've animated them whole sequences, put the tiny snippet in the first movie, then put the full story in this one, and it just works so well. The story in this about again what it means to be Spider-Man, what sacrifices do you have to make, the moral dilemma of saving one person versus saving everyone, and just seeing the love letter, not just every Spider-Man. Like, you thought No Way Home was a love letter to all live action Spider-Man. Yes, it was, but this one incorporates every universe. I will not go into like exactly what is shown, but geez, it literally makes it canon that every single incarnation of Spider-Man we have ever seen, including all of action stuff, is canon within this world. There are some great gags. There is a lot of rewarding moments if you've been a fan of just Marvel or Spider-Man or just Sony's live action universe in general. There are some great gags that work really well, but they don't rely on you having seen those. Like, you can see these gags and you'd be like, "Oh, that was weird," but you don't have to know. They're not a deal breaker for the plot of the movie, because the plot still very much focuses on the people established in this particular universe, and I really enjoyed it. The way this film is, God, let's see, the showtime was at 10:20. It finished at about 1:05. Take away half an hour for trailers, so this is over 2 hours long. Does not feel it. Every time it feels like the movie's going to end, it keeps going. I didn't want it to end. Literally, if this movie was 6 hours long, if it was the longest movie in the history of movies, I would have watched it. God, it's really hard to talk about this. I will say the new Spider people in this are all really good. As much as I missed Spider Noir and Spider Ham and Penny Parker from the previous one, the new Spider-Man introduced in this are fantastic. One particular favorite of mine has to be Spider-Punk. He's just great. Like, he's a meme, but he's just great. And I love how they utilize the Spot in this. I'm not a hardcore comic nerd, so I don't know much about the Spot, but the way they evolve this character of the Spot throughout this movie is outstanding. I can't wait to see where all this goes. Really, this is a movie that, all I'm saying is that a third movie is definitely 100% happening, and I feel like we might, just might, have got the greatest trilogy ever made on our hands here, possibly. Because, like, for the longest time, Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire was my favorite Spider-Man movie. Then Spider-Verse came along, just cleared it, like, just completely cleared it. This one clears into the Spider-Verse, and that is a hard bar to pass. It lived up to all the hype. I've come out of the movie with chills, literal chills. But go into like more critical stuff, like I say, the animation is next level. The things they do, the way they blend different forms of animation together, and how they incorporate into different layers. It just takes what the first one did and adds a lot to it. The story in this is just palpable. Honestly, it's so powerful. Not just seeing where all Spider-Man are, where Miles is at, where Gwen's at, where Peter B. Parker is, and yeah, Jake Johnson, he is great as Peter B. Parker. I also have to give a big shout out to Oscar Isaac voicing Miguel O'Hara. This is a great character, and I want to see more of it. Like, Sony Animation just wants to make a different movie about all these different spider people after this story has completed. Go nuts. I will be there day one without question. Luna Lauren Velez as well, who plays Miles's mom. She gets a lot more screen time in this, and she uses it to perfection. All voice actors are good. I could go on for ages talking about the voice acting in this, but holy hell, did this film floor me. Like, I got emotional at the emotional bits, but I just got emotional at just how beautiful this movie is. Like, this movie exists. Like, we Spider-Man kids are eating too good these days. We had the Insomniac Spider-Man, we've had Into the Spider-Verse, we've had Across the Spider-Verse, we've had No Way Home. We are eating really well right now. And I'm just gonna round it off with this. Like, with this and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it shows me that comic book movie fatigue is never going to exist so long as we are given comic book movies like this. Comic book movies are an art form, and they tell these amazing, out of these world stories, which is what movies are all about. And when there is clear passion and dedication put into these movies, it translates on screen and we can see the cookie cutter copy and paste industry ones versus the ones that seem to have a lot of heart put into them. So it's not fatigue. We have weak comic book movie fatigue because we've had seen a lot of poor comic book movies. Sony's a big culprit of this. It's weird how Sony Pictures live action superhero projects have been, let's be honest, consistently rubbish. Yet their animation department has given us two of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Some people are calling this one of the best films ever made. I'm gonna have to rewatch it to get my thoughts on that, but it just might be. This is hands Life of Guardians of the Galaxy feels gonna be hard to beat. Nope, nope. This has cleared every movie I've seen this year. Yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse is just it's pure cinema. Insert Katie Mitchell, behold cinema right here because that's what this is. Before I grade this, even though you probably know what the grade is going to be, if you have made it this far, consider clicking that like button, subscribe to the channel for more video content like this coming all the time. I plan to be more consistent. I think that is my goal. After seeing this movie, my goal is to be more consistent because this year has been fantastic for movies, and this is just the cherry. For me, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a perfect cup of tea. So Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse, what do you think? Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Let me know who is your favorite Spider-Man incarnation from this movie. Let's say discount our main four of Miguel, Peter, Gwen, and Miles. If you've seen this, tell me what your favorite alternate Spider-Man that showed up in this was, because I am curious to see people's opinions. Because there are a lot of fun ones that are on there for just the scene, but they steal it every time. It is fantastic. But until next time, everybody, my name is Josh. I've been Movie Apprentice. I'll see you all in the next video.